What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to talk a bit about Fire Emblem, and more specifically we're going to talk about this. This giant, beautiful specimen right here. It is so magnificently large, and I am not going to open it, so I'm not doing an unboxing for you guys. And actually, I don't even have like the right camera set up for that kind of thing, so that's not going to happen. However, I will tell you, if you want to see a really good unboxing, check out Mad Little Pixels unboxing. He did a great unboxing. I will link him in the description. In his unboxing, you really get a sense of the scale of this thing and just how huge it is. So anyway, let me tell you, I did pick up this collector's edition of this Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light. This is an old Japanese game for the Famicom that just recently got translated and made available in the United States, in the English-speaking world, and probably, I don't know about other languages, but definitely in the English-speaking world for the first time. And that is crazy and awesome. And Nintendo, you've got some tricks up your sleeve. You don't normally do things like this. First of all, your NES games are very much like on the eShop Nintendo Switch Online service, and we've never gotten any NES games from Nintendo in any sort of capacity like this. So this is actually really cool, and I want to applaud Nintendo for doing this. And this is only $50 for this giant box set. That is very cool. That is very cool. You get, I mean, look at everything that you get here. You get a poster, the Nintendo Power poster. You get a map. You get an instruction manual that's like looks really legit. You get the original NES replica cartridge. You get the original replica box. You get the replica cartridge sleeve, and look at the cartridge is see-through. It's like totally glassy plastic see-through. Looks amazing, insane stuff there. You get the deluxe art book. And here's why I'm making this video. I'm not personally a Fire Emblem fan. I've never even played a Fire Emblem game, and actually I'm not gonna play this game either. And you might ask yourself, Will, you're not a Fire Emblem fan. You're not even gonna play the game that you're making a video on. Why are you making the video? Well, let me try to explain. I'm making the video because I really love that Nintendo has done this, and I feel like this is the future. I feel like this is the future of game collecting, because you're noticing, you may notice, there's no cartridge here. You just get a download code. And download codes are cool, I guess, but this is where things are trending. If you want to buy a physical version of a game, you're much more likely to get something like this in 5 or 10 years, you know, because, I mean, let's face it, guys, the writing's on the wall. The new console generation is here. It's already half diskless. The Series S does not have a disk drive. The PlayStation 5 digital version does not have a disk drive. So it's already, you know, basically we're halfway there now. The Switch is starting to de-emphasize cartridges more and more. And of course, I can think of many reasons they may have chosen to not include a cartridge here. For one, I mean, the game is only like a few, it's tiny. It's an NES ROM. So the game itself is extremely tiny, about as tiny as you can get, and it's going to take up no storage whatsoever. So there's no concern there. And then there's also the expense of the cartridge and manufacturing it. And look at what they can do look at what they're willing to do for $50. I mean, hang on. This piece of junk right here has this, where is it? There. It has that cartridge. This is a $60 game. This costs $60. That costs $50. I mean, as far as a nostalgic piece of physical media, do the math here. I mean, these Switch cases are kind of a joke to me. I mean, you know, first of all, the cartridge itself is kind of meaningless. I mean, it's more than anything, it's just an ownership token of the game. It just proves that you have the game so that it can go download all the patches and things that it needs to actually make the game run properly. And then you have this inlay, as they call it. The inlay is just the piece of paper here. It is two-sided. And then you have the snap case, and that's it. And it's $60 just so you can do this on your shelf. Just so you can have this on your shelf forever and ever and ever. Just so you can take up less than a centimeter on your shelf in width forever and ever. Because, I mean, if you're a collector, like this is for me, this is not appealing at all for collecting. This is trash, basically, in my opinion. But it is what it is. I mean, if you like to collect physical media, then this is pretty much what you're stuck with. But let's be real, though. The Switch is all about convenience. It's all about, you know, if on my Switch, I would never play Animal Crossing. I would not have had all the good times that I've had in Animal Crossing if I had to keep up with and fumble with a stupid cartridge every day, switching out the cartridge, sticking it in there every single day of my life, doing that, and then taking it out after I do my little 15-minute rounds in the game, and then playing something else. I would never play certain games that are all about that, like, onboard convenience. Animal Crossing is probably the ultimate example. But there's a bunch of other ones. There's games that I just like to dip in and out of really quick, and I would not do that dipping in and out really quick if I had to fumble around with these stupid cartridges. So I'm very happy that this is, I think, like one of the only physical games that I have on the Switch. This was a gift. I would not dare buy that on a cartridge. So I'm happy to get the gift, but I was low-key kind of sad that it wasn't digital. But everything else I have just about is digital on the Switch. And this game, Fire Emblem, Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light, is also digital. I just picked this up on the eShop. Again, I'm not really going to play it. It's cheap, and I can check it out for like a few minutes and kind of experience it as a historical reference point. And I value that greatly because this is the first time this game's been available in North America, or the only time it's been available in 30 years. So, of course, we want to celebrate that Nintendo has taken this piece of history. They have done the right thing. They have provided a translation. They have given us the game. They've given us this big, beautiful, collector's edition for, I mean, only $50. Like, if you showed me this and you made me just guess a price, if I had to guess the price of this, I would say, ooh, as long as that's a real size Nintendo cartridge, I'm gonna bet that this is about like $110, $115, somewhere in that ballpark. And I think that's a totally fair guess. And it's not, it's $50. And it includes the game. Of course, the game's very cheap on the eShop. It's only $6 on the eShop. But here's what I wanted to talk a little bit about. This is the future, because this is the kind of thing that we're going to get when we buy physical games in the future. When we buy physical games in the future, we're not really buying the game. We're buying basically a piece of merchandise. This is very much in the merchandise category. I mean, because we don't even have a cartridge, we just have a download code, and we have all this other cool merchandise with the game code. So it really becomes less about the game code itself and more about all this other stuff that you get with it. It is like kind of the ultimate, it's kind of the ultimate like Fire Emblem thing, a physical thing. If maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was a big physical awesome version of Three Houses or something that I'm not remembering. But I mean, for $50, I mean, and considering how rare this game, I mean, that has been non-existent in North America, now you can pick it up like this. It just seems like a no-brainer for anybody that's into Fire Emblem, and really anybody that's kind of into collecting as well, because the price is right. You get so much value here. It's just, again, I can't get over that translucent cartridge thing. And for now, I'm not opening mine. Maybe I will someday. Maybe I'll decide to bust it out, but I just don't have that nostalgia for the game, so I decided to keep it boxed and sealed. I'm getting off track here. Let me try to get back on track. So what I want to talk about is this is what we're going to get in the future. this is what we're going to get. And this is about as good as it's going to get in the future, by the way, because we're not always going to have things this cool. But hopefully, when we move into the next console generation and physical media is gone, again, we all see the writing on the wall. We know that's coming. So when it's finally gone, companies should remember that we are collectors. Many of us are collectors, and we like to have things like this. We like to have a physical manifestation of a thing that we love, even if it's junky like this, and we have to overpay for it. And here's what I would really like. I would really like it if companies would just sell us something like this, just without the game code, without a cartridge, without a disc, just this stuff. Because this is what we're buying anyway. I mean, for me, like, we're probably already going to own the game digitally. So if we own the game digitally, we don't want to buy it again, but we also want this. So are you going to force us to buy the game twice? Like if it's a AAA game that's going to be $60, $70, are you going to force us to pay another like $80 for a collector's edition? Hopefully not. Hopefully there's a way that we can get the game digitally and then also have complete our collection or complete our edition of the game by getting this physical component. And it's not quite the game, but it's very close, and it can definitely stand in as the game on your shelf. That's the point here. It's a collector. It's going to wind up on your shelf anyway. So why not have it really pop on the shelf? Why not have it be really flashy like this? And why not sell it for a little cheaper, because you don't have to sell the full game. So we get to, you guys send some money on manufacturing the game. We save some money on not having to buy the game twice. Everybody wins. We're buying the game. We're buying merchandise. And we also get to have that coveted spine on our shelf. By the way, this thing's got a crappy spine. Like, look at this. That sucks. Like, I want to put this on my shelf and I want to know what it is. And I want people to see it and be like, oh, yo, you got that Fire Emblem 30-year anniversary thing. Awesome. But no one's going to know what it is. It's just black, discrete mess on my shelf. So that's a little disappointing. I wish they had gotten the spine right, because it's all about the spine at the end of the day, man. That's what collecting is. Collecting is just a little narrow thing on your shelf that has a label on it, tells you what it is. So you got to get that right. It's spine season out here. It's spine season. Developers, manufacturers, game manufacturers, you need to get hip to this. It's spine season. We want to see cool spines for our games because we want to know what they are. We want to be able to like just eyeball it on the shelf and be like, okay, that's the one I want, and grab it. Yeah, so what do you guys think about this? Would you like to buy something like this just without a game? Like, let's say this is a $60 game. Would you pay the $60 to play it digitally, and then on top of that pay an extra, $50 maybe to get this cool and awesome collector's edition? And you don't have to pay $100 because you already own the game. They can manufacture it for cheaper because they're not actually selling the software. They're just selling this other media, this book, the poster, the manual, all that stuff. We need to figure out a name for this kind of item because it's not a game. It's not a physical game. It's something else. We need to figure out what it could be. Could we call it a game ownership token? Could we call it essentially what it is, this is about collector preservation right here. This is continuing the tradition of game collecting after the physical games are actually gone. And that's where we're at, or where we're going to soon be at. So if you haven't made peace with that, I suggest you do so. And really, when you look at how cool this thing is, it could be a lot worse. Am I right? It could be a whole lot worse. So anyway, guys, thank you for listening to my big silly ramble on this. If you like what you see, check me out, subscribe, all that cool stuff, and I'll see you next time. Peace.